You've been interviewed thousands and thousands of times. Do you ever, in any of these interviews, give the kind of answers, in these press conferences, give the kind of answers you think people deserve or people want, rather than thinking seriously about it?
Yeah, sometimes. Especially, when it's very obvious that somebody wants the kind of, you can tell what people expect to be told. When they've sort of read it in a book somewhere, what the answer is, and they just want to get it down on tape. And you just know what the answer is anyway, so sometimes you do that. It's just because it's quicker to do it than go into a long explanation of the real answer. But not with sort of real serious questions. It's normally with the daft questions you do that.
And does this occur sometimes with people who look for gimmicks about you and about the group, where there are really no gimmicks at all, or where something has just happened naturally?
Yeah, well, the hair bit, of course. Because probably now it is a gimmick. I'm sure it is, actually, the way it's been taken up by people. We didn't intend it to be one. When we first started, I can't even remember when we did first start wearing our hair like this. But people came up to us and said, and hair, that's a gimmick, isn't it? I said, well, no, but if you want to use it as a gimmick, it's a good thing, because gimmicks, when you want to get known, gimmicks don't half help, obviously. So we said, fine, you use it as a gimmick. They did, and it's become one since, but we never originally thought of it as one.
Paul, how old are you?
21 and 14th, in 4 days I'm 22, getting on.
How does all this outside feel to you now? You're isolated in this air-conditioned hotel, not quite soundproof. This kind of thing that's happening outside now. What do you really feel about it, really? Really,
what we always say, the same old adjectives: great, marvellous, wonderful. Because it is. It's a marvellous feeling. It's the same feeling as when you go out on stage and you get a great big scream. It doesn't matter that it's a scream. There's nothing deep behind a scream. A scream's just the same as a roar at a football match. There's nothing sort of sexual or any, horrible things like that. Because that's the sort of thing people occasionally read into it. There's nothing like that in it, I don't think. Because I know that when I used to go to shows, I'd shout. But, I didn't mean anything more than, I like the music you're playing, or, I like the way you play your guitar, sort of thing. There was nothing behind it. And so when I hear that now, it's flattering. It's nice to think that people enjoy either what you're doing or the things you say. It's a good feeling.
Well, since you find it flattering and you are in part responsible for it, do you worry about things, for instance, the things that happened here yesterday, when people are in situations where they might get seriously hurt?
I don't actually, no, because I've never come really into contact with a situation in which anybody's been hurt. People ask us whether we worry about getting hurt ourselves. It doesn't worry me because I've never been near enough to it. I've heard all these stories about people getting the coats ripped off their backs. Never happened to me, though.
But you're very well protected, aren't you?
Yeah, which helps.
I wonder if this is a bad thing about being a Beatle, that you have to be well protected, that you have to be away from people, that you can't have contact, you can't just walk out of the streets and have contact with people. Not while you're on tour, anyway, here. No,
that's the thing, you see. When people see us, mainly, especially in countries like Australia, it's when we are on tour. But in fact, I've just been on holiday for 3 weeks, and I only, saw one civilized person, well, one or two more than that. But I mean, after 3 weeks of that, I get bored. I want to meet people again and get back to, the life where you sort of meeting people every second. So, and when we did the film, plenty of time off. We weren't sort of bothered or anything. It's not half as bad as it looks, because this is how you always see us. So being interviewed and things, and it looks as though you think, God, they must have a terrible life being interviewed every minute of the day and so having to meet people and things. But it's not true. This is a change, actually, from having a restful life. I'm not very keen on this life where you just sort of laze around in the sun. Can't stand it.
Well, do you meet the kind of people you'd like to meet?
Occasionally.
Always.
You don't always. Of course you don't. Well, you don't, do you? No, but I mean, you know, we occasionally do. We've got friends of ours, and so friends are the people you like to meet. Works, doesn't it? So, you know, we meet our friends. Sounds a bit daft, we meet our friends, but, you know, that's true. We do get to meet the people we want to meet. And we meet people on tours like this that we like, and we get to know them. If there's anyone we especially like, you know, we'll always sort of make arrangements to see them again, sort of thing. There's always ways of getting to know people you like. I mean, we're not protected to that extent.
How much are you protected, actually? I mean, what are you doing tonight?
Well, probably nothing, but I just don't want to do anything tonight. If I wanted to do anything, like, I mean, what is there to do? You know, go out to the pictures or something, which I don't fancy anyway. You know, but that's the thing. I don't really want to do anything now. Somebody asked me if I wanted to go sightseeing, but I can see quite a lot from here, from this window.
Well, a lot of people are out there screaming and so on. What about the interest that other people take in you, the intellectuals and intellectual writers and so on? See all kinds of dark and mysterious things about you.
Yeah,
and
it's
what
nice.
You're doing to the youth of Britain.
Yeah, it's nice them. Excuse me. It's nice them seeing things like this, you know, sort of reading things in. It's nice them taking an interest in us to that extent. You know. Again, it's flattering that sort of the music critic of the Times should write a great article with words I've never heard of about our music, and we can't even read music. You know, it's good that he should do that. I mean, if you know if you found an article about one of your interviews in the Times, and they said what depth that man's got, the way he asks questions, you know, they start using great words which you may not understand about the depth of your interviews, you know, you'd be knocked out with the idea of it, whether you understood it or not.
One of your group said, I think, was criticised, saying your group was criticised on grounds that this Liverpool beat was not, the Mersey beat was not a unique thing at all, that other people had it, the Shadows and other people a few years ago. One of your group agreed with this criticism and said it's a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, I don't think particularly the Shadows had this particular sound, but there were other groups, of course. I mean, we based ourselves on people that we liked. We're the first to admit that we've been influenced. But the thing is that we were influenced by different people, not by one particular group. And so that we reckon that we've got influences from these particular people and sort of rolled them all into one, and that's our sound. It's probably not original, but people think it is. You know, we don't particularly think it's original.
But you haven't claimed it is?
No, I wouldn't claim it's original. But if people like it, it's good enough for me.
Is there anything you really don't like about being a Beatle?
No, I like it. I know that, you know, people say, of course you must miss the private life thing, you know, where you can't go out in the streets and things. I never used to like going out in the streets. I always used to stay in the house anyway. I'm not a hermit or anything, but I wasn't one for sort of the great outdoors ever. I know that then, in those days, I always used to miss not being one, not being popular. You know, we used to think of thousands of things we could do to make our group popular. So now we've done it. It would be stupid to be dissatisfied with it, and I'm not.